For close to a century, the Harley Clarke Mansion has been a fixture on Evanston's lakefront. After a local art center moved out a few years ago, there has been much debate on what to do with the historic landmark.
This is a 1927 Tudor Revival mansion on the lakefront in Evanston, just east of Sheridan Road.
This massive French eclectic style mansion is a local landmark and part of a landmark district listed on the National Register.
Harley and his wife, Hilda, were among the original philanthropists in Evanston. They were philanthropic pioneers and believed in equity for all.
The building itself is special and unique.
With its stone walls and graceful lines, it's an architectural standout.
It won an Arts Commission Award when it was built in 1927.
Not only is the building a landmark, but it sits right next door to the Grosse Pointe Lighthouse, which is on the National Register of Historic Places.
Beautiful exterior with 6 monumental chimneys, a red tile roof, all kinds of Tudor Revival detailing, beautiful pane windows, and it's been empty for 3 years.
The room of Harley Clarke, just north of the foyer, the walls are paneled in hardwood. If you look closely, you'll see that the surface is irregular because those panels were hand chiseled. In another room, the slate of the floors is a green hue that contractors assure me you can't even find anymore.
Every single aspect of this building is valuable. There's wood in this building that is completely unattainable now.
I have traveled around the world, trained by compagnons in France, by masons in Scotland and Ireland. I consider this place to be a sanctuary for us to learn about the trades of the past, to learn about the quality, about the skill, about the pride of the craftsmen and craftswomen of the past.
Every stone is different. The coining, all the texture on the coining is different. It's a diaper pattern here. It's a basket weave there. The stone on the wall goes in and out, projecting in the planes. Very difficult to lay up.
Craftsmanship that is so evident would take an army of craftsmen which are now in short supply.
In the Harley Clarke house, rarely do you see such a high level of decorative treatments and craftsmanship. Ornamental features including twisted columns, molded brick chimneys, highly detailed copperwork, and classical elements complement the graceful massing of the building.
It's a beautiful treasure to the beach. Well, every time I go to the beach, I look at it and I think that is beautiful.
It's a beautiful building. It's a landmark, and it has great bones, great proportions, materials, and details.
Structurally, it is a sound building.
The landscape is by Jens Jensen, one of the 20th century's most important landscape architects.
Some might call him the equivalent to Frank Lloyd Wright in returning to an indigenous type of landscape and a reference to the prairie here in Illinois. So think of him as one of the most revolutionary landscape architects of his time.
The Cultural Landscape Foundation in Washington, D.C. has identified the Harley Clarke estate and it's including the home and its landscape as one of the most important and endangered historic properties in the nation.
City landmarks are designated to signify that these historic places matter, that they tell our collective story, and that they should be preserved, plain and simple.
The interior of the building and the features in the interior of the building are really quite extraordinary, as is the exterior.
The interior of the house appears to be in good condition structurally.
It's incredible. So, we're not reflecting on how incredible it is. It's a big part of what makes Evanston feel like Evanston is that sense of history driving down Sheridan Road. I mean, there's nothing like it. How many stock market crash gilded mansions are there open to the public in the United States, in Evanston?
I had not been in the Harley Clarke Mansion until Saturday, but it was breathtaking. It was undeniable. I was struck by the building. I said, wow, this is a really cool building.
So I think it's very clear that it's a significant building. It's a significant piece of architecture. It's a unique design.
controversy is brewing. The debate is all over the future of this historic landmark.
Vote is expected tonight involving a controversial plan to tear down a 91-year-old landmark mansion
on a proposal to eliminate it and its noted gardens.
Tonight, the City Council will take up a resolution that will open the door to possibly tear down the historic mansion.
Tom Hodgman's nonprofit, Evanston Lake House and Gardens, was set to lease and refurbish the space for educational programs.
Lake House Group felt that they were close to a deal, but then at a meeting on April 9th, members of City Council, rather abruptly, they voted the plan down.
I mean, we were just shocked. When we heard there were issues, we thought for sure they'll just table it, we'll go sit down, we'll fix them.
Of course, we were watching the council meeting with great disappointment to see the lack of vision on the part of the city. We find it counterintuitive that there may be discussion about demolition by the city of its very own landmark.
The people with the lake house, they showed all the different houses that was historic, how they was revitalized and reused. Spoke with such passion as to what she could do with that building with children coming in there. And we said, yes, that could happen. And then like all of a sudden, the conversation got weird.
And there's a group of private citizens, who most of whom live nearby, who have proposed funding a demolition.
Several families have come forward, offering to pay on their own dime to tear down the mansion.
And while they were doing lease negotiations, the demo group was on the other side sending emails about how to demo the property.
This minuscule group requires that we should quickly demolish the Harley Clarke mansion. They have already raised $400,000. Boy, they're fast.
Private citizens proposing to pay to destroy a public asset. And I don't believe that's appropriate.
I don't understand why people can throw money and then they can get their way. That I hope we can be better than that.
It makes sense for looking to negotiate with another group when the Lighthouse Gardens group has already said that they would find the money to support this. They have raised that money. I think they should be able to go ahead and use that money to do the restoration that they said they wouldn't do.
We have a wealthy group of neighbors whose money has a deadline on it, and I don't accept that. I think that's a terrible way to act. That's not a smart way to do government.
But some longtime residents say there is already enough green space surrounding Harley Clarke. They don't want to see this piece of Evanston architecture destroyed.
If we demolish this building, we're going to lose this amazing historic landmark. We're going to lose all these opportunities for Great Lakes education. You know, we're going to lose the interaction with the Jensen landscape. And what do we gain? We're going to gain a quarter acre of grass.
Destruction of our heritage, the Harley Clarke mansion, to increase the amount of grass in the light park.
I just wanted to address argument. One is that we need grass space, and I'm willing to accept that argument if you can show me one person who's tried to have a picnic at Lighthouse Beach and has gone home because there's no grass here, except for the 2 football fields of grass.
Quotes from Einstein. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. My question is, would Einstein be in favor of demolishing a mansion for the opportunity of more lawn?
You don't need more grass. There's grass all around us here in this park.
In a community that prizes being green and prizes our historic preservation, the idea that we would send a bulldozer at this building is shameful, just shameful.
A small amount of additional grass just really doesn't do it for me. I think a restored and repurposed Harley Clarke would benefit the whole community.
If they knock it down, it's the first step to becoming privatized.
We have no idea what the land is going to be, even if it's going to be a park.
You'll end up selling the land to a real estate developer in a few years from now, or Northwestern will make you an offer. Either way, we'll have a multi-story eyesore in lieu of the mansion.
For me, conversation about this property has never been about saving floors and walls so much as preserving, for public access, the only lakefront mansion between Chicago and Lake Cook Road that's not owned by the 1%.
I've been to a number of the homes along the lake, and I have really admired the kind of access that those individuals have. I think that everyone in the community should have the opportunity to experience the lake from that perspective. If we demolish Harley Clarke, we put another quarter acre of grass on our lakefront. We will perpetuate the status quo. With adaptive reuse of Harley Clarke, we could make Lighthouse Landing truly one of our most diverse places in our city. Natural diversity, built environment diversity, and human diversity. It is something that Evanston should aspire to. It's an opportunity for every citizen, no matter income or race, to enjoy the lakefront in a way that is not available now. And if we destroy this building, it forever means that a low-income, medium-income family would not be able to enjoy the lake in comfort and in a way that a lot of people do.
The problem with the concept of green space is that it is approved and supported by the millionaires in the city of Evanston. And a community service house, if we restore Harley Clarke, would be a place where the 100,000aires should go. More importantly, it would give access to the children and the citizens, the 100,000aires, but also the black and brown citizens of our city that have no real access to the beach right now.
Equity isn't also just about color. It also means age and ability. And we've had older adults who have asked to keep the house so that they can sit in there on a winter day and enjoy the lake view. We have no other building on the lakefront at all.
Access is more than just being open to the public. Access means people being able to get there. The uses that have been proposed for Harley Clarke include providing transportation to get to the uses, providing transportation to get to the classes, providing transportation to ensure that it is open to all of Evanston.
As a black person, I want to tell you, it makes me wonder why this sudden offer to demolish the building when other offers were made and nothing happened until it was said it would be available to the whole community. As a person said to me today, Evanston, Mississippi.
This is an opportunity for unity, an opportunity for everyone in Evanston. Use your conscience to vote. There should be no MOU. And if it is considered, you ought to take full responsibility for looking at the number of citizens who have expressed a desire to keep the mansion accessible, available for all our citizens. You make the choice.
Thank you, Carlos.
Demolishing Harley Clarke is going to be a costly and environmental nightmare.
Demolition and construction accounts for 25% of the solid waste that ends up in U.S. landfills each year. Tear down has local and regional environmental effects on stormwater, landfill space, noise, and removal of mature vegetation.
Demolition requires big machines that crush building materials, which result in harmful dust being released into the neighborhood surrounding Harley Clarke, as well as Lighthouse Beach. Types of dust typically include forms of lead dust, hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, and carbon monoxide, and this could have a serious impact on the surrounding community and the general public.
The energy required to demo Harley Clarke is equal to the energy required to power 2,452 homes a year. Demolition will send 10,000 tons of materials to landfill, 10,000 trees worth of old growth lumber.
How are you going to remove from the soil residual contaminants left by the demolition process or address any lawsuits deriving from that?
Reuse is the green thing to do. People in preservation will tell you that's green. Demolition is not.
There's a tremendous amount of embodied energy that went into that, and if that goes down, all that carbon is gone. If this building's torn down, there's no going back. All that construction effort is gone forever, and really, they don't build them like they used to. And we really, really should not do this to this building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evanston resident Allie Harnett has formed a new group called Save Harley Clarke. She has collected over 3,000 signatures to place a referendum on the November ballot to let voters decide on the mansion's fate.
In 10 hot days in July, Save Harley Clarke gathered over 3,300 signatures. People chased us down when we were gathering signatures, leaving coffee shops and missing trains in order to be able to sign. One woman tearfully told a story of her Girl Scout troop visiting the house when she was a young girl and couldn't believe that the house could be demolished. We've raised thousands of dollars to support our campaign with donations not only from Evanston, but also Oregon, New York, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and more. And we didn't have to shake any bushes to get these donations. They have come to us. I truly believe that this building is not a teardown, not even close. It is an opportunity for people to come together to talk about our shared vision for the city and to learn how a restored and revitalized Harley Clarke can become an economic engine for a thriving community asset that serves everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wherever I travel, I've seen civic efforts to leverage cultural assets, and communities are working on historic local structures to successfully restore them for imaginative public use and economic development. A truly progressive city would be doing the same here. Demolition of this landmark is a bleak, dismal, and literally destructive proposal that would not only be an aggravated offense against residents' hard work and vision, but a crime against culture.
Our history and our heritage shouldn't be treated as a disposable nuisance. Demolition of city landmark and National Register property should never be considered when there is a viable reuse option.
Just in the recent weeks, we've heard from numerous professionals in the preservation and architecture fields offering their support to help find the resources to preserve and repurpose Harley Clarke. Landmarks Illinois, the former director of the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency, National Trust for Historic Preservation, American Institute of Architects, American Society of Landscape Architects, and the American Planning Association.
Design Evanston Central Street Neighbors, Southeast Evanston Association, the Northern Illinois Historic League, Landmarks Illinois, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, the Cultural Landscape Foundation, Open Lands, Jensen Ecology, the Liberty Prairie Foundation, Alliance for the Great Lakes, Lake Dance, District 65 third grade teachers, Northwestern Center for Water Research, and U.S. Representative Jan Schakowsky, to name a few.
All individuals from all of those organizations are offering their support to help us repurpose Harley Clarke.
Well, that there are people like me that are ready and willing to serve as volunteers for a project that we believe in deeply, for a property that's iconic to our town, that's distinctive architecturally in terms of landscape.
You know, you don't have that many things in your community that are really worthy of the community's affection. This is one of them, and people obviously care about it. There just aren't enough things in our everyday world that are truly worth caring about, and it would be a tragic blunder to remove this one. This is a magnificent building.
But my point is really to talk about the experiential significance of Harley Clarke. Buildings provide shelter in all seasons, and in our houses, however humble, the solid walls of our dwellings allow for installation of lights and heating systems that support our survival. Architecture, fine architecture, on the other hand, provides spaces that go beyond mere shelter. They house our spirits while encouraging them to roam and to soar, and this is what happens at Harley Clarke.
Preservation of Harley Clarke contributes to Evanston and the region as a more interesting place in which to live, work, and sustains our shared heritage, culture, and civic values. Thank you so much.
And it would be a great loss to the city if it were demolished.
It would be detrimental to the public good should a house of this architectural caliber be demolished.
By demolishing a part of your history, you would undermine a rigorous preservation ordinance and open it up to future threats.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we could ever even consider this.
I just wanted you to think history, what's been there, and what would this history be if this building is torn down?
Stand your ground and support this estate. You are going to have a greater story, a greater life expectancy for the area, and a true joy for the community to love and appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you.
If the building stands, bring kids in and young adults from all over the city. So the access to the lake at that point, it will be a place where black, brown, and low-income students can come and enjoy themselves at the beach. So I urge you to keep the building and benefit all the people of the city of Evanston. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen to the Evanston people.
Let the people decide.